rolling?
Is that on the record or off the time?
It's not 10 o'clock yet. I got the official clock in front of me.
20 seconds, I think. So I think it's close. There we go. Good morning. I'd like to officially call this meeting of the Seneca County Board of Commissioners to order for Tuesday, January 6, 2015. Please join us for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please join me for the prayer. Thank you, Lord, for this new year and the new opportunities presented to all of us. Please be with us as this new Board of Commissioners are here to serve the citizens of Seneca County. Amen.
Amen.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Stacy.
Here.
Commissioner Zoller.
Here.
Commissioner Kirchner.
Here.
All right, we will have the signing of the journal, and I'll accept a motion to approve the DVD recording from our previous board session from Tuesday, December 30th, 2014, and the index. She'll send the journal from that end down to you.
I make a motion that we approve as outlined.
I guess I can second even though I wasn't part of it.
Yes, you can.
Okay, second.
All right, a motion and a second to approve the DVD recording and the index. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Approved. All right. As far as any adjustments to the agenda, we've got one listed here, one additional resolution.
I have another
You have
resolution.
another resolution you're adding? Under old or new? All new, probably.
New, yep.
Okay.
And then WSOS appointments.
Okay. Under new.
Yep.
As part of the adjustment, the proclamation for Commissioner Wagner.
She's working on it.
Pardon?
Nikki's working on it.
Okay.
So we're not ready to
We won't have it today.
do that today.
Okay, that's fine. Anything we need to add? New or old?
No.
Okay. Stacy or Tanya, anything to add? Okay. Then let's begin. You want that, the one that's under adjustment to go fall under new business then?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll add that, don't let me forget it.
I did want to have some conversation about strategic planning. Is that on here?
We'll do it at the end of new business.
Okay.
Yep.
Do that. That's usually the time when we start out, if there is anything that's not on the agenda, we just outline it so that President Stacy can work it in the new or old business, however it stands.
And if that's not a blue pen, I'm just gonna warn you, the girls are gonna yell at you, so you're gonna make sure you need to find out. There might be one in here, there you go. Oh, it's blue. All right, then let's begin with the old business, and we have down regional planning budgets, and I'm imagining that's why Roxanne might be joining us this morning. I don't know who's got what on that, but
I got the resolution. Her and Bree worked really hard to get this ready, and they did it.
welcome to the job, right?
Yes. Thank you. So I think we've got everything. We did pass the sewer districts during budgets last time, per Mark Zimmerman, so those were already done. So I have the revolving loan fund 094, total 40,600. I have the CHIP FY13 fund 140, 400,000. Fund 194 housing relief, 24,000. Fund 111, the CDBG FY13. 99,700. Bascom Note Interest Fund 231 for 139,200, and Fund 196 for the CDBG FY14 for $89,600.
If I can ask, is this, I'm a little confused here, is this the budget for 2015 that wasn't submitted last year because we couldn't get, we
It was
couldn't
right at
get
the
it
end
for
of the year.
End of the year, you're submitting that now? What did we do when we looked at our overall budget? Did we put a figure in there? I mean, or is this gonna be in
This
addition?
is not from general funds.
This
These
is
are all their
non-general
grants, these are all the
fund, not-
grants that come through the regional plan administrators.
Okay,
They come from the county.
okay, so
So-
we, whatever portion that we appropriate out of general funds was in the budget then?
Yes, we.
Yeah, our contribution to
Okay,
regional
okay.
planning
Okay,
goes
so I
out of the
wanted-
budget.
okay.
This is just all the grants.
I'm with you now, I'm sorry, Roxanne. I'm
No,
sorry.
that's fine.
That's okay. I only know that because I verified it the other day. Because that's what I thought. I thought, how did this
Yeah,
work?
yeah, it was just gonna be the addition of what we've already verified or approved. This is,
It's our weather, emergency weather station.
probably telling us that it's cold.
Just a test. Oh, sorry. That's a test.
Yeah, first time I knew that was there after I don't know how many months I'd worked here, and was standing next to it when it went off one time. It was not a good experience. I did not even know that was there, but went through the roof. Okay, nothing else for old business?
Nothing like being distracted.
Yeah. Nothing else for old business? I guess we need to call the roll on that one.
Commissioner Kirschner,
Yes.
Commissioner Zoller,
Yes.
Commissioner Stacy.
Yes, so that is approved. Oh. There I just screwed up. That vote really doesn't count. Do I have a motion to adopt the resolution?
I'll make a motion that we accept the regional planning budget.
I will break the voting.
Yeah, that's gotta get turned off.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Call the roll, please.
Commissioner Kirschner.
Yes again.
Commissioner Zoller,
Yes.
Commissioner Stacy.
Yes. Yeah, I made a mistake for the year.
Now you know why I looked at you that way though.
I wonder why you went going, what? I'm going. All right, old business, nothing else, new business. Let's start with the WSOS appointments, we don't forget that.
Received a letter, and maybe Nikki brought this up, but I wasn't sure. It looks like they are requesting our representatives, Holly and Paul Harrison, if they would be, like to continue through 2015.
And I know, because of the Fair Board assignment, we aren't doing a reorganizational meeting until the 15th of January, when we do most of all the committee things. But in communicating to these guys that I would be interested in the Fair Board, which is the same night, Mike did indicate that he could take the WSOS appointment if that was open.
Okay.
So I guess we can do that if Mike agrees to have.
So it says their board is gonna be electing officers on January 13th, so I can just send them a letter, we can.
Yeah. And I suppose we should
Let them know.
communicate with Paul, but last I talked to him, he was interested in continuing
Okay.
to be a representative for
That
us.
meeting's January 13th.
Yes.
Let's say what time.
Usually it's 7.
7?
Okay.
So we don't really need a resolution or anything.
We'll get that, we'll do that when we do our,
Okay, organizational stuff.
yeah, as long as I can let them know that.
It's
that's
at their
what we're
meetings
gonna do.
before ours, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to begin with the bill vouchers and other inspections.
2014 still on these. I have bill vouchers, numbers 1 and number 2. I have a supplement to the permit appropriation general fund for 2015. This is putting the $105,000 into the transfers out. This is all of our lease payments. We put all of our lease payments into the general fund and our transfers out, and then we move that to 215.
I guess it's the,
I have a supplement to the permit appropriations for the VOCA Expansion Project Fund, 158, putting $897 into other expense. I have a resolution authorizing a fund transfer be made for the LGF alternate formula to the Soil and Water Fund, moving $10,000 from our LGF to Soil and Water Floodplain Administration. A resolution authorizing fund transfer be made for the LGF alternate formula to the Ambulance Service Fund, 064, moving $180,000 into the 064. I have a resolution authorizing a fund transfer be made for the LGF alternate formula to the EMA Fund, 102, moving $60,000. I have a resolution and these are gonna be worded kind of harsh. We have some echo paramedics that have just been inactive, and Mr. Majors has talked to all of them about this. We just need to remove some of them off of our active. So it does say resolution terminating Eric Besser as intermittent paramedic effective January 6th pursuant to Ohio Revised Code 124.30B. And that's the wording we had to use. They're just inactive, and we needed to remove them. So I think I have 5 of these.
6.
Eric Besser, Mike Holman, Nick Houston, William Lalone, Mike Steyer, and Justin Wallace. And they're all the same. And I have a supplement to the permanent appropriations. These two are the extras. I had talked to the treasurer right at the end of the year, and he's got equipment malfunction in one of his, not his computer, it was a check counting or cash counting machine. So yeah, we talked about doing it at the end of the year last year, but with our budgets, doing all our budgets, we just figured we'd wait till this year. So the 3,000 is for that, for the treasurer's office. And then I have a resolution authorizing permanent appropriations for the ambulance service fund, 064. This is putting $2,000 into equipment, and this is for some training equipment.
And that was, what was the amount on that one?
2,000?
2,000.
And I asked him to come up in case you guys had any questions about the employees or.
All right, do I have a motion to approve the resolutions as stated?
So move.
Seconded.
A motion and a second. Are there any questions, concerns on any of the resolutions? The additional 2 and or the others? Anything you want to say?
Yes. The reason I wanted to come up is because of the way that was the way that was worded, and Stacy just explained it. But those guys have been long members of the Echo unit. Some of them have been there since the inception. But his life moves on, realizing now that we've been in operation for 6 years. We've got other employees now that are picking up hours, and some of these guys have moved on in their life. One of them's retired completely, doesn't do the job anymore. The other guys have, some have been promoted to captain at the fire department. They've been very busy. There's absolutely no ill will towards these guys. They're not fired. They've just been removed from the list because they haven't been active working for us. And it frees up room on the roster for me to hire some new folks. And that was really the reason behind that. And if I'd have had maybe busted out the thesaurus a little better and got a better word than terminated, but I think that's kind of what we have to do for what we do here. And as far as the movement of the money for the training equipment, we have to have, I actually had money left to purchase a piece of training equipment that we use, because we do more training now than we ever have. And we had to move that in the equipment line in order to spend it properly, so.
We had it in supplies, and it was
Right.
over $3,000 to move that to equipment.
It's an accounting thing that I never have extra money, so I didn't know exactly how to use it, so I had to talk to Stacy about how to do that. And anytime I see the EMS name on the agenda more than once, I usually like to come up and answer any questions that you guys have. And just to make sure that everybody's clear on those terminations, so I don't end up getting executed in the newspaper. So, do you guys have any questions for me regarding?
Just from my standpoint, please make sure you let those guys know that we thank them for their service.
Absolutely, sir.
Appreciate
I
what
will
they
do
do.
that. And like Bill Malone's been a paramedic for probably almost 40 years. And he's just done doing it. He's retired, so we do appreciate his service very much. And I talk to each one of them individually, and I'm trying to get in touch with each one of them personally to make sure that I do that, and I appreciate that.
Great.
Other than that, I have one piece of good news regarding joint ambulance districts. I did hear yesterday from the coordinator in Bettsville. Bettsville, Liberty, Jackson have formed their district, so that is 4. So we've formed 4 joint ambulance districts in less than a year. So,
And the ones outstanding are Pleasant, Green Springs, And Adams?
Adams, and then Republic and Scipio.
Okay. I'm gonna have a meeting with the mayor of Green Springs this week, discussing with him. They can do what they wanna do.
Sure.
I
I just wanted to.
don't think it's the right move, but,
Right.
you know, that's the way they wanna go. We've investigated it well enough with the ambulance, what was that, North Star?
North Central.
With the chief of the fire department, and I had some conversations with you, so if unfortunately, if that's the way they want to go, my concern was always the net effect for the rest of the county, and it's not a significant net effect. Again, I don't think it's the right decision that they're going after, but they have the prerogative to go whichever they want, if they want to go off on their own. And so I will relay that to them unless fellow commissioners feel any differently. When that-
Tell them they don't talk to the citizens out there. You can tell that was from me.
And there are some other ideas on that, Fred, that we could probably talk about at another venue, but regarding the feasibility of a shared service between Sandusky County and Seneca County. That has been discussed, and then I spoke to the director up there, and he agreed to that. So I think that's something that hasn't been discussed with the mayor. So if you'd like me to be at that meeting, I'd be more than happy to do that.
Okay, good deal, good deal. I will certainly inform you, Ken.
Okay, thanks. Not tired of you guys coming together since that.
Did we go to the resolutions? Okay. Need a motion to accept all of the resolutions. We have the motion. And a second. I don't know why I'm screwing that up today. Now we'll do roll call.
Commissioner Kirchner,
Yes.
Commissioner Zoller,
Yes.
Commissioner Stacy.
Yes. All approved, the new business resolutions as stated. All right, then added to the agenda was a discussion, was on strategic planning that Commissioner Kirchner wanted to, that's enough.
Yeah, I think that it's important that the county put together a long-term plan, maybe a 3 or 5 year rolling plan regarding its future. From what I understand, we haven't put a strategic plan together since '05. I think it's important to get the elected officials and hopefully maybe some other folks in the community involved in the process, to have a person moderate that process who isn't necessarily an elected official, but someone who has some experience at putting strategic plans together. I think it's probably a day and a half effort on the county's part, but it would include every elected official. Probably wouldn't hurt to have the mayors, the larger municipalities involved in it. I'd be happy to head that up and get that organized and some tentative dates set if this board feels comfortable with that. But I do think it's very important to move forward with that.
So this would be based on, since you want to include all the elected officials, like their needs and visions they have in the next 3 to 5 years for their responsibilities, be it buildings, be it equipment. I mean, I'm just trying to get my hands
Well,
around
I
what
think
you're.
that, yeah.
Because I mean, this is not land use.
No, no,
Like
no.
we talk about long-term plans and
No, no,
so
no.
forth,
No,
and
this
that
is
would be
just
something
a-
regional planning probably would coordinate. Okay.
I mean, the old saying is, if you don't know where you're going, any road will get you there.
Yeah.
So what we need to do is, in my opinion, is have 4 or 5 priorities for the county that everyone is in agreement with, that these are the 4 or 5 things that we need to look at, come up with a action plan for those 4 or 5 items, and assign some responsibility for those things to be completed. With the input of the elected officials, because we want to make certain that we have all bases covered and make sure that we're not missing anything. I mean, we all know that we have 4 or 5 things on our plate at this point that are major issues, but there may be things out there that we're not aware of, or there may be some input from the elected officials that might alter our thinking on which direction we ought to go with whatever that specific issue is.
I'm very supportive of something like that. I know from a business perspective, what it does is it unites everybody with a common goal. Because you have every department that we all get kind of tunnel vision, and we understand where we got to be in our department or that specific department, but this way it encompasses everything together. It's like, I always try to equate a strategic planning process like the general in an army, and you have to go up that hill to defeat the enemy. It's much better if we get everybody united to go up that hill together, and we look at the main goals of what we're setting out to do. It has been very, very helpful to me personally from a business perspective, and I think from the county's perspective that it would be helpful to bring us all together for a common goal, which will benefit the citizens of Seneca County. So again, Commissioner Kirschner, I'm very supportive of this.
Thank you.
And if you want to, in my mind, if you would want to head this and champion this, I certainly would be very supportive of it, and we'll participate in it.
So do you want to come back with the next meeting, kind of what you outlined of maybe what,
Sure.
if you've come up with dates or however you want to do it? Obviously, if it's a meeting of all, it has to be a public meeting if we're all to be there,
Yep.
because of the three of us.
Understand.
So we just have to advertise it accordingly and those kinds of things, whether we did.
Brittany doesn't have enough to do, she needs another couple.
She needs another
meetings.
meeting to go to.
Yeah.
Well, I can see times, our experience is limited to 2 years, but with various discussions, not that that won't be the driving force in the end, but it always comes down to the money. But, when we've had either carryover money or, whatever financially has worked out, we decide to do some things that seem to be needed, and by somebody who's come to us and said, let's do this new computer system because it's going to be, get us more towards paperless process, and that's in the works to happen this year. Discussions on the GIS system and how that can happen and what needs to happen, and that's more than just a couple of departments that are impacted on those types of things. When we talk about countywide hub and priorities and needs, so I think it could lend itself to be very helpful.
Yeah, thank you. I think the collective process of everyone's thoughts will probably yield a couple of surprises, priorities that we really didn't think we had, that we really ought to think about. So I do think it's important to get everybody together. And besides that, I think that to have all the elected officials in one meeting, maybe on an annual basis is a pretty good idea, so that everybody can kind of get a little bit of sense of what's happening in other departments.
Sure.
And what it does, it puts everybody on the same page. Instead of departments coming to us and asking for money and us saying no and so forth, they understand the big picture of the budget constraints and so forth and so on. So I'm very supportive of this.
Okay, thanks. I'll work on it.
Okay. Anything else for new
Do you
business?
want to mention, I know Fred mentioned the organizational meeting. I'm going to move it from,
Oh, yeah. The reorganizational meeting, we are going to have that on Thursday, January 15th at 10 a.m. So there will not be a meeting next week until Thursday. Normally it would have been on Monday, but we have scheduling conflicts, so we have confirmed that we're okay to have that after the 12th, so we're having it on the 15th at 10 o'clock here. And that's where we will determine and set the schedule, our routine schedule for 2015, and do various committee appointments that need to be established each year for things we sit on and or other representatives for us. So-
I'll give everybody the freedom to watch a national championship game and sleep in the next day.
If the Buckeyes wouldn't have won, it would have been easy. We'd have been here on the 12th. Unfortunately, there are other activities right now.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else for new business?
Yeah, something I would like to talk about briefly, and I didn't think about it to add, but it was in the paper this morning. As we all know, that we were awarded a $500,000 zero interest loan. When they applied for it, I thought it was a 12-year process, but now I'm hearing it's a 10-year, so I'm not sure, 10 or 12 years, but so that everyone's aware, that is a zero interest loan that the commissioners can use for advancing this Justice Center. In the architectural design, in the bidding process, in the whole process there. We all know that that there is another study that's being concluded. Originally, when SIDEC has allowed this study to be funded by private individuals, it was supposed to have been done by Thanksgiving, and then it was said it would be done by Christmas, and now the new date is by the middle of January. The long and short of it, we as commissioners have to realize that costs continue to escalate. Every year we delay this, according to discussions in the study, and I know it didn't specifically state it, but I was there in all the meetings that they said it was gonna add roughly about 5% cost a year, which is roughly $450,000 that we're adding to the cost. So I think it is important that this outside independent study that is being conducted by SIDAC be completed as quickly as possible, and my hope is that the new deadline of mid-January can be done, so the commissioners can now make a decision as to location, and we can start the process, and we can use this $500,000 zero interest loan, and that we can start this process of designing, developing, and come up with some sort of time frame for the big picture that may help to incorporate what Commissioner Kirchner was talking about with the strategic planning process too. So my hope is that we can move this process along. Commissioner Stacy, I know that you have been working with the mayor, and I think that it is important that we continue with negotiations between the city and the county, so we look at contractually how this thing will work. I read in the paper this morning that city council and the mayor has kind of asked us commissioners that we would set a deadline make a decision by the end of January. And I would totally support that we can make a decision by the end of January on location, so we can start the process. So again, it's more informative and to bring it out in the open for everybody what my thought process is there.
In the award of that grant, there were several entities listed on it. I don't know if the article today alluded to that, but back when they came to us. But it's a matter of coordination that everybody's agreeing that we are able to use it for the Joint Justice Center, because the amount was determined on the number of entities that were party to the approval or, signing on that grant. And there were several others. There was us in the city, and I don't know who else, Clinton Township, somebody else. But, so that all is, I guess I'm not sure how that part of it works.
Boy,
If we
I
decide
don't
we
know,
wanna-
I didn't know, I thought
Wasn't
it
that
was
the
at
one
the
that?
discretion of the
It was
commissioners.
It was 100,000 to each entity that was party to the application. So I just don't know how that, I'd just be curious on how.
Yeah, I don't know the specifics, and I will be happy to discuss with Mr. DeBoli at the COG and on the specifics of how this grant is to be utilized.
Yeah.
And I don't know that, but I know it's there, and it can really, can be helpful that we're not gonna have to take any money that we've set aside to do for the architectural design and to put the bidding process together.
And I would wholly agree that a decision will need to get made on the, two things, the confirmation of it is a joint justice center or it is not, and then where the justice center, that then determines whether it's just our call where this is going. And I think within 30 days, we ought to be able to come up with that decision on those two things, because we can't move anything else. That's been the whole stopping gap with the discussions with the mayor, is we can't move to step B until we know the answer to A. And we've been waiting on this study, and you can wait so long, but we've got to be able to start moving forward, make the decision, and then we can put our plan in.
See, I somewhat disagree with that, because the contractually, how it's gonna be between the city and the county is, to me, it's immaterial if you put it at point A or point B.
But
It's still an agreement between the city of ownership of the facility, of who's gonna pay for what and how it's gonna be paid for. As to where it's at, A, B, or C, is kind of a moot point
That's
in
why,
my mind.
that's why the first question is, are we 100% sure it's a joint justice center? As much as we all think that's a great concept, we need, we gotta have both entities agree that we're moving in that direction. And I think until we have the study done, I don't know that they're gonna give us an answer. I mean, we've gotta both have an agreement that we're going into this together. Am I,
I
you know what I'm
Problem
saying?
is- the
Because if we
problem-
aren't, then we don't need to worry about an agreement with the city.
It's a cart and a horse.
Yes, exactly.
I think that we, at this point in time, from what I've observed, the last few meetings, is we're a bit on our heels. And by that, I mean, we are waiting for somebody to respond to us before we're gonna make a decision. I think the opposite should be true. And that is that we need to say to them, we need to have this study by whatever date you promised.
Right.
If the study is not here, we're gonna make a decision.
No, I'm all fine with that. I mean,
So, yeah, but that, until we make the decision, it can't be determined as to whether it's a joint justice center, or because the agreements aren't gonna be signed, according to what we've said here before, between the city and the county, until such time as a decision is made. Is that my understanding, is that correct?
So we're back to, we need their study.
Well-
We wanna see that within the next, by the end of the month.
The point is, if they don't have it to us, we still need to make
Right,
a
oh, yeah,
decision.
it's, yeah, I'm not saying they don't give it to us, but we just know that we can't look at it as a research information, we don't
Right.
have it.
Well, my
And
con-
we gotta move on.
My concern about that study was, I did read the study that was done a year and a half or so
A year ago.
And it did, I guess since the sheriff is here, I'll ask him, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but has there been any questions to you from the East Junior High Tower regarding security at that building?
No.
And that seems a bit odd to me, because he's one of the sheriff would be one of the major players regarding that building, or the possibility of that building being used as a justice center from a standpoint of security. There was a section in the study that the sheriff's office participated in regarding a joint justice center on this property, that they had those discussions about security. Evidently, those discussions haven't been had regarding East Tower. That makes me a bit leery about how far along that process is.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. From what the original study that was commissioned by the state of Ohio, that we spent $100,000 for, that there was interviews with judges, with prosecutors, with the sheriff, with commissioners, and a whole array of people that come together, and that's where the results of this study was. Now we have a second study that's being funded privately that, again, was supposed to have been done at Thanksgiving, Christmas, and now the middle of January. And to my knowledge, I know from the sheriff's standpoint, and from the judge's standpoint, and from the prosecutor's standpoint, and for me as a single commissioner standpoint, there has been no incorporating any of our ideas. It's just an independent study that's being done that has not incorporated anything, and that certainly concerns me, especially when we delay this thing and it's cost an additional approximately $400,000, 5% increased cost. That bothers me. And now we haven't brought these other people in, so I certainly am supportive, and I hear people that they wanna save this grand old building, and I think there is a plan that could be put to place that we can utilize that. Now, it's for the study that was originally done for the Justice Center, looked at that and determined that the most feasible place to go is where it's at. So we need to move this program forward, and this $500,000 zero interest loan is certainly a way to help us promote this thing and to move forward. Because we all have to realize the reasoning for this, not because we want a new building downtown, is we have a security issue. Technically, we should have 3 security forces out there. One for the juvenile center, one for the common police court, and one for municipal court. Right now, we are not compliant. Municipal court doesn't have anything, and we're paying for 2 full-time security people at 2 different locations. The second one is we have a handicap accessible situation that we're just waiting for the feds to come down and fine us because we haven't addressed that at the Juvenile Justice Center. So it isn't because the commissioners want to spend money, it's because we have a couple of overriding factors that we have to alleviate, and this can be a cost savings factor for the city and the county for the next 75 to 100 years. So,
Well, maybe I could, what I would move is that the decision by this commission be made regarding the Justice Center location no later than the second meeting in February, which I think is the 10th.
Correct.
Is that right?
Second Tuesday in February is the 10th.
Okay, so that this commission makes a decision regarding location of Justice Center by no later than the 10th, with or without the study that's been promised us.
and again, I want to mention that that I hear the people that want to save the East Tower, and I believe that there are options that are not gonna take additional taxpayer levies to support. We could do it with existing funds to utilize that building, but not as a justice center in other ways.
All right, was that a form of a
I'll call the
motion?
question, yeah.
No, second.
Seconded.
There's a motion and a second to have the Seneca County Board of Commissioners have all the relevant information, because on that as of February 10th, a decision would be made on a location
Yeah, I think on or before.
on or before February 10th, on the location of a justice center, and as well as the joint aspect of that?
Mhm.
Okay, joint justice center. Call the roll?
Commissioner Kirschner?
Yes.
Commissioner Zoller?
Yes.
Commissioner Stacy?
Yes. Anything further?
Yeah,
Yeah.
other than that.
We have a executive session for that, correct? Do we need an executive session, John?
Yes.
Yes. We need an executive session for discussion on employment contracts. So, John, are you okay if we go ahead and do citizens' comments quickly so they can move on, because we need action after that?
Yes.
So we probably would have some action
There will
after
be,
the
yeah.
there will be action after the executive session, or do you want to just go to the executive session?
It's up to you.
What's your schedule like, John?
Pardon me?
Would you rather we go to the executive session right away?
Yes.
Okay. All right, do I have a motion that we go into executive session?
So moved.
Seconded.
Been moved in second, we go to executive session, call the roll?
Commissioner Kirschner?
Yes.
Commissioner Zoller?
Yes.
Commissioner Stacy?
Yes, 10:36, we're in executive session, we'll go to the back room.